Aggressively Casual.
Welcome, everybody, to Aggressively Casual, episode 9. I always am your host, Freebird. With me to my internet left, in picture only this week, is Cheeks. Say hi, Cheeks.
And in voice, hello, folks.
Oh my, what a voice it is.
Maybe Twitch was like, wait, no, we're not showing him on this topic. Ain't happening.
So, for those of you who are watching it live, yes, we are recording on a Sunday. We didn't forget what day it is. I'm gone tomorrow evening. And so we figured we instead of just skipping a show entirely, we would just go ahead and do one tonight for you guys and get it up a little earlier in the week than normal as well. For
That's
the
how Grandma
VOD.
died.
Jesus Christ. For the
Fanfit, come on, use those special effects.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it. There
Look,
you
you
go.
spent like some time creating them. You should use them.
Wait, hold on. I actually have to fix that now that you mention it because that image needs to go back here. There we go. That should work. Let's try that again, shall we? There we go.
Right.
Woo! Cool. Awesome. But anyways, it's been an interesting couple of weeks here. I've seen some things. I've done some things, and what have you been playing lately, Cheeks?
I did play some Pal World this week. I played some Marvel Rivals with you, and I am back to playing the game that should not be named.
Ah, yes, that's right. That has reopened. Yes.
Yes.
So
They closed the service for Christmas,
Right.
Because they figured it'll be the last chance they get to close the service for Christmas.
right, so you might as well take time off and enjoy it while you can.
Yep.
For me, I did a little dabble in Pal World. You and I did a dabble in Ark earlier in the week.
Ark. Forgot about that.
Which we need to get back into sometime this week. Other than that, I am now officially one session away from finishing Indiana Jones.
Nice.
And very excited about that. Really looking
Good.
forward
We
to
can finally
finishing
talk
that
about the ending.
one. Yeah, right. So hopefully, I would say probably that'll be a stream at some point this week to finish that game off. Other than that, not too much new here, which I can't really complain with. I will take a nice, slow, relaxing pace into my January, versus the last couple of years when I was working a different job where it was a, full dead-on sprint into January.
Right.
So I will take that. I will take that.
I've
But
just
everything
been
else.
dealing with shitty weather. I've been, rescuing people on icy roads. And
Oh, that's
trying
right.
to get kids home from holiday flying.
That's
traveling.
right. You guys, you guys got a bunch of snow and then got a bunch more. Is that?
Yeah. We got a bunch of snow.
Yeah.
We got a medium amount more, and then we got a little bitty bit more after that.
Yay! We love snow. Snow is wonderful.
I hate snow.
There's a reason I moved.
Always have.
There's a reason I moved.
So here's the thing: snow is pretty, right
Yeah.
when it falls.
Yeah.
But as soon as you drive on it, it's just nasty.
Right.
It's ugly. It's just. Now, with that being said, if you've ever been on a Ren Fairgrounds in the morning when it has just snowed, that's a little magical. I will admit this.
Yep.
But then people show up and it all turns to mud. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you're in the mud and cold as opposed to in the mud and hot if it's in the
Yep.
summer.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
I'd
not a
rather
fan.
be I'd rather be warm and in the mud than cold and in the mud.
Right. I mean that was the Brevard Renaissance Festival last year. Literally,
Right.
It became the mud show. With the amount of rain we had last year, like did I ever send you the video of Seamus face planting into the mud?
No, you'll have to send me that.
I'll see if I still have it. I know Trish has one, but it was the funniest thing.
Nice.
He actually got a standing ovation afterwards.
Sweet.
So yeah,
I've definitely done fairs that the whole fair has just turned into the mud show.
right. Yeah, it just
You're slipping and sliding, and heaven forbid you have to go up or down a hill.
and then you have those Those days where your boots are just mud and and your legs are covered in mud because your boots leaked.
Yep.
Yep. Those are fun. But without further ado, as we are running a little behind this evening, thank you, technology.
Whatever. If we roll over, we roll over. It ain't gonna hurt.
That's true. It ain't gonna hurt anything.
It's not the only time limit we have is the one we set. So
this is very true, and I can always edit out crap I don't like. Right.
Right. Exactly.
This is my
show. No wonder I can't hear myself on the videos later.
This is my show, damn it.
So anyway, we've adoed further, so stop furthering adoing and get to it.
All right, so I've been weighing this topic in my head for a while now. But and you and I have had some offline. Stay close to your mic or
turn your noise gate down.
And you and I have had some offline conversations about this.
Right.
But I think there's something to be said about the established industry, aka AAA video games, versus indie games and indie game development and that whole process.
Hot take: AAA development, much like the studio system for music, needs to die.
Yeah. Okay. Why?
For a lot of reasons. One is that's what's put us into this stupid live service moat that we're in that we cannot get out of, because now they've determined, oh, hey, we can do this to make money all the time. But most of the time, we're still going to charge you. B, the budgets are out of hand. Budgets are huge. The budgets are so friggin' huge on some of these games, you're never going to make that back. This tails off the other topic we had about this sort of thing, is you can't make just a good game anymore. You have to make a great one or it's a failure.
Right.
But part of that's because the budgets are too high. So now you've got too much invested that you're never going to get back. And then you have the bullshit like Ubisoft calling Skull and Bones a quadruple A game. That isn't even a double A game, much less a quadruple A game. They screwed the pooch on that so bad, just forget about it. I have very little interest in anything Ubisoft does at this point because of all of their crap.
Yep.
But the other thing is companies just expect we're going to put this out and you're going to buy it. And now, unfortunately, that's still true a lot of times. But when you got places, again, going back to Ubisoft, I'm going to use them a lot tonight because, yeah, you've got Ubisoft Plus. So now you've allowed people to pay $15 for a month to play through your game and be fucking done. So what should have been a $60 game is now a $15 game. So once again, how are you going to make your investment back? Yep. Well, it's going to be in microtransactions down the way. Not if your game sucks.
Yep.
So and they are also guilty. Now, when you look at a game like Pal World, so I'm just getting cranked up. Sorry. You look at a game like Pal World, early access, but that game is pretty much feature complete. There are a few bugs, but nothing that's been game stopping that I've seen yet in all the time that we spent it. And I spent a lot of time in that game.
Yep.
Not a AAA studio.
Nope.
Then you have stuff like Bethesda's whole friggin' business plan is putting out broken shit and fixing it after the fact. They've done it for years, and we've let them get away with it. I put a lot of this on gamers. Sorry, gamers. This is partially our fault because we have let companies get away with it because we continue to buy this product release after release after release, knowing it's going to either be broken or half-baked. I'm looking at you, Madden. Here's your new team. Give me another $60.
Right. Here's your one new maybe feature. Give me $60.
Right.
Please.
Look, we changed the color on this jersey. I need another $60.
But actually when it comes to games like fucking Madden, right? It's actually not $60 anymore. It's actually $120.
Well, right. That's before you get to any of the extras, right? I'm just looking at the standard price of a game these days, which is $60, and that's also part of the problem. I realize that that gaming, the prices have not kept up with the economy, right, so to speak. But if they had, every game that came out would be $150 to $200, which again, now you're not going to make any money at all because people are, I'm like, no, it's not worth it. I'm not doing it.
Yep.
So and even the fact that we're at $60 now, sometimes 70 is becoming more and more common, I buy less and less, or I wait for it to be on sale. I no longer feel the need for probably 90% of the games to make sure that I'm playing it first day, FOMO or not.
Right.
And that's the thing. Gaming companies in general, they prey on the fear of missing out, right?
Absolutely.
It's an actual literal predatory practice. Don't let them fool you. Destiny is the worst offender on that one.
Yep.
But
Yep.
again, it's this. But most of this literally comes from AAA studios.
Yep.
You look at the indie guys; they just want to put out a game and make a little money and do what they love.
Yeah.
You know, look at Pal World. Look at Ark. As even though that went to shit.
Right.
You know.
But when it came out.
They went out of their way to fix it. Look at No Man's Sky. Talk about the greatest recovery story ever.
Yep.
Yep.
That is the greatest redemption story in gaming ever.
Right.
Ever.
And so
So
but again,
much so,
none of
so
that
much
is
so,
AAA.
right? So much so that they're making a second game.
Finally.
In Light No Fire that looks incredible,
I can't wait for that game.
And I think has taken all the lessons they've learned from No Man's Sky and they're evolving on that formula.
They've taken some of them, you can tell just by looking at the trailer. But again, not a AAA studio.
Right.
Give me solid product. But the thing is, until one of these companies, and I mean a big one, whether it's Ubisoft, whether it's EA, whether it's Bethesda, until one of these companies literally goes away, nothing will change.
Yeah. And like the thing is like Ubisoft's in a lot of trouble, right?
It may come sooner than we think.
Ubisoft is in a lot of trouble. Ubisoft needs things to start succeeding. The problem is that Ubisoft in particular has spent the better part of the past few years telling you that you need to get used to not owning your games.
Right.
So on one hand, you've got a company that needs to sell games to succeed, right?
Right.
But then
on the
other hand, they're not selling the product. They want to sell you Ubisoft Plus subscriptions. And you and I talked about this when I was playing Star Wars Outlaws, and that part of the conversation we had while playing Outlaws is what got me to write this down. And I was talking to somebody about Outlaws today, in my Star Wars Discord. And they were like, wow, this game's incredible. Why'd it get a bunch of hate, yada, yada. And, it came down, to me, right? It comes down to the fact that Ubisoft's reputation at this point is actually worse than EA's.
Right, and that's impressive.
And that's a feat. And that's a feat because Ubisoft has spent so much time making you actively dislike the decisions that they've made. It's hard to root for them.
And then they blame consumers, and they're still doing it.
Yep.
And Bethesda's doing the same thing. I saw a couple of articles this week that were talking about tweets, because I'm not going to call them X's. Sorry, they're tweets. From Bethesda
it's
developers.
Still Twitter.
Right, it's still Twitter. From Bethesda developers blaming the consumer.
Yep.
Still. Yep. And Ubisoft does the same shit. Well, it's just, if you don't like it, it's your fault. Well, no, you put out shit. That's the thing. If I don't like it, it's because it's not any good, or I can't find any good in it at all.
Yep.
And you've seen me play games that you're like, why the hell are you playing that game? That game gets reviewed for shit. Yep. And I'm like, yeah, but you got this, and this, and this. It's kind of like.
Yep.
So like there's a channel out there. There's a YouTube channel called Cinema Wins.
Yep.
That looks at the good things in bad movies.
Or all movies, really. I mean, whatever.
All movies now. It started out as just bad movie, quote unquote bad movies.
True.
Now it's just all movies. But it's a great channel. Love it. Followed it for years.
Yep.
Go give him a look. But you have to, when we play a, well, like Path of Exile. Let's use that as an example. I was just struggling. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. Does it outweigh the rest?
Right.
Given my lack of playtime lately, the answer is no.
Right.
But the fact that we went back and we started playing Ark again, even though Ark still has all the troubles it's always had, the fact that we still dip our toes in Destiny once in a while, I'm waiting. February 4th, the episode that I've been waiting for finally drops.
Right.
It'll probably suck. Don't get me wrong.
Yep. We'll see.
But
Again, we'll see.
we'll go back to. I'll play it long enough to go back to the Dreadnought.
Yep. Same. Same.
You know, and that's the thing. I like the Assassin's Creed games. Here we go back to bashing Ubisoft again, but they have fucked this one up from pillar to post.
Yep. And it just
in every way, and it's like, God, how do you? How?
Like I remember, right, when
Doing the time warp?
Yes.
Come on, graphic me. Jesus, man, stay on the ball. You got these things. Come on.
So I remember in the halcyon days of 2010, right, and earlier. I remember AAA game studios were there to make games and that you really couldn't get anywhere else. Right? They were there because they had the money and the talent. And more importantly, the money, right? But the talent. The talent was the most important thing. They had because they paid people worth their damn and worth their time, right? But they had the money, they had the talent to make games that nobody else could make. They made games that were incredible. That's where Halo came from, right?
All right,
that's
you don't
where
get Mass
Elder
Effect
Scrolls
2
came
from an indie studio, right?
That's where Mass Effect 2 came from. That's where all these great games that we still talk about as these games were incredible, right? And now, right? Now it seems like a lot of that has been flipped on its head with the creation of things like Unreal Engine 4 and 5, right? And to a lesser extent,
the tools now are so much better. So you're starting to see things like Pal World and things like that are coming out, like that are top tier.
Things
right
like
there,
games like Dune Awakening.
Okay, babe. Yeah, things like Dune. Well,
that
Funcom, yeah, okay. Funcom's, they've always been kind of a AA studio.
Yeah.
But with the advent of Unreal 5, it's like we talked about last week, the last show. It's a catch-up mechanic, right?
Yeah.
Now suddenly all these developers are like, hello.
Yep.
We can do graphics just like those guys.
Yep.
And the problem is, instead of taking notice and going, we need to do better.
Yep.
All these AAA studios are just doubling down on the bullshit.
Yep. They haven't learned the lesson, right? And that's one of the things that I was thinking about is that, I've been in this industry for the better part of 16, 17 years now, right?
Right.
And I remember, when we covered E3 from 2014 to 2018, right? I remember like talking to the indie developers that we got to talk to and talking to the AAA developers we got to talk to. And it was so interesting to me to see the AAA developers and the AAA PR people just regurgitating the same information over and over and over and over again, right? But when we talked
part of that is they have to stick to the script.
They're right. They had talking points they had to get out, right? Whereas these indie devs, we would ask them a question, and you can go back and watch our E3 coverage from years ago, and you can watch Sam talk to these guys and ask them questions that one, nobody else was asking, right? Mm-hmm. But two, also just like watching their eyes light up when they were like, oh, and by the way, this is something you could do with it. Like that doesn't happen when you talk when you watch these like Vidocs and these and these behind the scenes things from all these other companies. And it's because, let's be real, they don't really care.
No.
They know in most cases they've got your money already.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they have? What do they have to improve upon? And like that's the biggest my bugbear with this whole thing, right? Is that to me there is no point for AAA studios to continue to exist.
Right.
Because I can get more quality, finger quotes, right? I can get longer hours. I can get a better experience out of a game I spent $20 or $30 on than a game I've spent $70 to $100 on in some cases.
Right. Right.
And that if you think of it pure black and white, that should not be the case, right? Like if we, and it's hard for me because I love games and I want all games to be good and I want all games to succeed and I love to get excited about the idea of, you know, the next Star Wars game or the next Dune game or the next Mass Effect, right? I love the idea of the next Mass Effect because I love Mass Effect. Like I loved the idea of the new Dragon Age. And then the new Dragon Age came out, and while I was on the more positive side of the review spectrum for that game, I still have a lot of problems with that game. Mm-hmm. And I can see where the criticism is, where the criticism comes from. Because while I am able to sit there and swallow some really weird dialogue in places, and some really weird tonal shifts in others, right?
Right.
I can see where other people aren't able to do that, or they're just not willing to, or whatever it is, right? It's disappointing when I feel like, as you know, like our mission here with Senshudo, right, is to constantly be talking about video games in as positive a light as we can to keep because there is so much negativity in gaming, surrounding gaming, games media. I mean, you can't throw a fucking rock on YouTube without coming across some guy who's screaming that video games are dead and video gaming is boring and you know, games were better 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever, blah, blah, years ago, and there's no creativity in games anymore and all this shit, right? You cannot shake a goddamn stick without hitting one of those videos.
Right.
So
they weren't better, but they were more stable.
We here try to portray things in a positive light. That being said, sometimes these fucking AAA studios make it so hard for me to do that because they constantly disappoint me. Because I can't sit here. I stopped doing reviews of games, right? Because a review is subjective, right? It's an opinion, and you, as the consumer, should always form your own opinion.
Correct.
I will never, ever, ever tell you how you should spend your own money. What I will tell you is I will tell you what I think of a game, and you and whether or not I think it's worth the time to maybe look at some other videos or pick it up yourself or whatever. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, you should or shouldn't do this because this is, you know, my opinion is, you know, what gold. Take everything I say, if they, you know, and just believe it. That's not who we are. That's not who I am. That's not what we do. Like that's not what we're about. But like sometimes these companies make it really, really hard to stay positive, and especially when I see companies like EA with their sports games taking so much money hand over fist, or Activision with fucking Call of Duty doing the same thing year after year after year after year, like, and to the point now where some of the largest Call of Duty content creators on social media are calling them out on the same thing that happened last year and the year before and the year before. I mean, there are parts of Call of Duty that are broken, literally broken. You cannot play ranked play right now in Call of Duty because the hacking and cheating is so bad that if you are on a console, you might as well just not even try, because you won't stand a chance against some guy who can see you through a fucking wall. But they don't do anything about these issues. But yet they put out another $20 or $30 skin pack and another $20 or $30 battle event pass on top of their battle pass, on top of their black cell for their battle pass. Like, come on. People are paying $70 for your game, right? $100 for the Vault edition of your game. And you can't even deliver a goddamn product that fucking works? Are you kidding me? You have every single studio. You have 10 or 11 studios working on the Call of Duty franchise at one time. What the fuck are they doing?
Right.
What are they doing?
Why can't you deliver a working product?
Why can fucking Pal World deliver a working product? Why can Arrowhead deliver a working product with fucking Helldivers? But you can't deliver with 11 game studios working on your product. Why?
Well, you start to wonder. You start to wonder too. Where's the budget being spent? Right? Because if you got 11 studios, what, you got one guy at every studio?
Well, if you got the other thing with 11 studios is it could be a thing of too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
There is something like that to that too. Now you have, 40 developers when you really only need 20.
Right, but the point is, you are charging an astronomical amount of money for this game on top of the base price of the game, right? And their own like internal papers that they had to release, their own internal studies they had to release, show that they have used manipulative tactics to get you to A, keep playing their game, and B, to get you to engage in FOMO tactics, right? So like for all of that fucking money, what do you have to show for it? Nothing.
Right. Well, and that's the problem. This goes back to live service, which is almost exclusively the purview of AAA studios.
Well,
because you have to do that. You're using every marketing tactic known to man.
Yeah.
To try to, it's like, hopefully that there's nobody that doesn't know this these days, but stores like Walmart, Target, whatever store you're in, are purposely designed to keep you in a store as long as possible.
Yep.
And to keep things in front of your eyes for as long as possible. The checkout lanes have all that stuff there for a reason.
Yep, it's all driven on impulse buys.
To use Walmart, it's designed to funnel you a certain way to show you certain products.
Yep.
To try to get you to now, is that a bad thing? Not on the surface.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the games do that same thing, right? Here's your, like you say, here's your battle pass. Oh wait, if you don't do these dailies, you're not going to get this thing. If you don't do this, then you're not going to get. Look at this shiny thing that you can get today only. And it's it's like stuff that's designed to keep and then you get to the point where you're, this would be a lot easier if you just bought it with silver or whatever your in-game currency is going to be. Then you can have it now. You don't even have to earn it. Except in the case of Destiny, where sometimes you buy a pass for an event, and then you still have to do the thing. Even though if you read the ad, it's like, buy this, get this. But that's not really the case. Yeah. So their holiday event shit is bad for that. Their holiday event cards are bad for that sort of thing.
Yeah, but like you and I,
it's all designed to make you reach into your pocket. At least First Descendant is upfront about it, right? At least they're in your face. Like everything we do is designed to make you go, fuck it, I'm just gonna spend money.
Yep. Well, and the thing with First Descendant, right? And you and I talked about this when we were playing First Descendant versus Warframe, right?
Right.
In how First Descendant at least tells you right up front, hey, you're either going to wait for this to happen or you're going to pay money. Warframe is super goddamn sneaky about that, right? Where if you're playing Warframe, right, and you are just starting out, right? And I think I said this. I think I've clipped this before, but I'm going to say it again because I haven't said it on this show, and it bears fucking repeating because it pisses me off, right? Warframe. If you are just starting out playing Warframe, you are going to have you're going to get a basic frame and basic guns, right? If you want to upgrade those guns, right, or craft new weapons, that process to go from the start of the first you have to gather all the materials to do those things, right? Let's say I want to unlock a new frame or I want to unlock new weapons. First, I have to go through and play the game and gather the materials to do those things. Then I have to go to this little area in my ship and I have to craft them. But here's the thing. Crafting in this game is not like every other game that you've played before. Like it's not like a survival game or even an MMO where I craft something and I immediately have it. No, it's like a mobile game. I have to wait 72 hours.
Right.
72 hours before I can use the thing that I spent many hours gathering the material for. Because, of course, the drop rate on some of these fucking materials is asinine.
Right.
It is minuscule and terrible.
Well,
right. But my point is, with Warframe specifically, right? Warframe. Oh, boy. So in Warframe, right, let's say I go through all that trouble, right? And let's say I go through all this trouble, I grant all the materials, I wait the 3 days to unlock my new Warframe, and guess what? You get one character slot. You have to buy another one.
Right.
So I tell a lie. You either have to buy another one or delete the one you've been using.
Right. There are some other games that do that. MechWarrior Online comes to mind, where you have to buy mech base.
Yeah. But the problem is the game doesn't tell you that.
Right. Well, right.
That's the problem.
MechWarrior Online
the game doesn't tell you that, and it bugs the.
Another AAA thing that you don't get. Go back to No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
You don't get that with AAA studios. They just cut their losses and run. Perfect example, Anthem.
Yep. Okay.
They came out and they're like, we're going to fix this. Anthem 2.0. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. And then some fucking bean counter said, nah, we're done. And it's poof. Because you have – part of the problem, unfortunately, is you have to answer to shareholders. Shareholders demand profit. That's not wrong, by the way. That's kind of what what that's for, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works. I buy into your company with the expectation that you make me money. So no issue there. But now you have to answer to those shareholders.
Right. Oh,
and they're like, why aren't you making me money? Now you want me to spend more money on a product that's already not made me money.
But at some point, right, that switch flips and companies stop caring about what the consumer wants and only start caring about what the shareholders want because the shareholders keep the money coming. Let's be real.
That's my point.
Okay.
That's my point. It becomes now you're beholden to the shareholders. All they give a shit about is profit. So you don't get Anthem 2.0 because you've already cut your loss. You've already spent however much it was, $100 million or whatever it was. Anthem had a huge budget for the time. I remember that.
Yep.
You're not going to get that back. Now you're asking me to dump more money into it.
Well, why is it that with every fucking AAA studio, every fucking AAA game that fails, it comes out like 6 months, a year later after the game is fallen by the wayside, that what they showed off in their marketing and all this never actually existed in the first place.
Never existed, right?
That happened with Anthem, by the way. So
it also happened with No Man's Sky.
Well, yeah, but when they revealed, No Man's Sky. Time out. No Man's Sky was the result of scope creep, right? Those issues happened because they just kept going, well, what if we, and nobody stopped them.
To be fair, their very original trailer that they dropped, most of that shit didn't make it into the game.
Fair.
That they said, it's going to do this, it's going to do this, it's going to do this. My point is, but then we go back to the fact that, well, then they went and fixed it.
Right.
They just continued to put money into this because they believed in that product, or it's the only way they had, so they had to fix it. But they fixed it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, over here in AAA land, they just cut and run.
Right. Well, and
Yes, Anthem put out some hokey shit, and you're like, wow, this will be cool, and then you actually walk through it, and you're like, wow, none of these people are actually moving.
well, that's the thing is so when we saw Anthem at EA Play, I will never forget it because we were traveling with folks from EA at the time, right? And they obviously had knew that Anthem was coming, and this was the announcement, the big announcement for the year, and this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And Sam and I sat there and looked at each other, and we're like, "This is it," because it felt weird, and we walked out of the presentation, and I'll never forget the guy we were traveling with looked at us and said, "Well, gents, what do you think of Anthem?" And Sam looked him dead in the face. And I looked him dead in the face, and we both said something along the lines of, it looks like a big, beautiful open world with fuck all to do in it.
Nothing to do. Well, the weird thing is that was only half true.
We were
that
right.
part of it was only half true. There was actually quite a bit to do. The point here is though that why Anthem failed, it's not really pertinent to the point we're making here.
Right.
The point is it failed, and instead of doing a No Man's Sky and fixing it,
right,
they just cut their losses. Same thing. I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked that Skull and Bones is still live.
I'm not.
I'm truly shocked.
I'm not. I'm not because they spent so long on it in development hell. They're going to try to get as much money as they can out of it.
Sure.
Even if only 10 people are playing. There was some really stupid number that was thrown out recently.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, ridiculously no number.
Tens of people are playing that game.
Right. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that's AC Shadows after like the first month.
I'm just gonna leave this blip on screen for a minute.
Right.
But what do we know? I just
well, and it sucks. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, it just again, I don't want to see these games fail. I don't want to see these studios fail. I actively root for the success of every studio, even if I think that the game is not going to be very good, because I want every game to be good. It's like I want every movie to be good. No one ever sets out to make a bad game. No one ever sets out to make a bad movie. It is what happens along the way from the initial concept and starting creation of your game, or your product, or whatever it is, to the end, that makes it good or bad, right? And choices are made, and things have to get cut or added or reworked or whatever, and
right,
and those decisions make a game end up being good or bad. I wish, and this is the other thing about AAA devs that bothers the piss out of me, right? AAA studios have to conform to a quarterly budget schedule, right?
Right.
I mean,
every shareholders.
Every business does, right? But more so AAA studios. So you see these AAA companies putting out games that are not ready for prime time for whatever reason, right? And it, how do I put this? Because they are beholden to those, well, we have to make so much money in X quarter, right? Which is the reason, by the way, why Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming out in March.
Right.
Because they have to hit their end of fiscal year targets or come close to hitting them, or else that company's dead in the fucking water. There's a reason it's coming out in March, and they didn't push it back indefinitely. I'm telling you right now, it's because they have to hit a goal, a budget. They have to do something to hit that before the end of their fiscal year. Otherwise, they're hosed. And they know it. And they know it. But you see along with that, you see the continued reign of crunch culture in AAA dev studios,
right.
Where we're going to do everything we can, no matter what it takes, to get this done by X date. It has to ship by X date.
Right. And whatever is done by that date is what ships.
Right. And that's no way to treat Consumers aren't stupid.
and then that comes out, and they go, "Oh, you're right. We're sorry. We'll change."
Right, with
And then they don't.
with solemn JPEG. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Is like fool me once, whatever.
Sad Keanu
but,
face. We'll change. We
right.
promise.
We're sorry.
Right.
We're sorry. I just
And it's a thing.
Right.
Like, well, and Blizzard is a great example of that.
right.
Blizzard got called out. No. You're not gonna defend Blizzard on this one.
God no. God no.
They got called out on their culture.
Yep.
They're like, we're gonna change it. Years later now, very little has actually changed.
Yeah.
It's still the same shit is still being called out.
Yep.
People still shovel money at them. So basically, it's like anything else. If you shovel money at a company, you are pretty much tantamount approving at what they do.
Mm-hmm. What
you can't say I don't like this place's practices, but still buy the product.
Right. And it's I have friends who work for Blizzard who I have friends who work for Activision. I have friends who work for Microsoft, and and a lot of them are very happy where they are. A lot of them are very happy with the state of how the companies are run now. I can tell you they weren't a few years ago, and that a lot of internal changes for some of those companies did happen, but I don't think they happened. I don't think they happened as fast as people wanted them to happen. And what I mean by that is, when you are a company as large as we're talking about Blizzard, so let's talk about Blizzard. Right? When you're a company as large as Blizzard, right, you cannot make sweeping changes overnight. Now,
no, but you can in 7 years.
Right, and that's the thing. And that's what I was about to say. Is it shouldn't take you years to make those changes, but it cannot happen overnight. And we all know how the public is. The public wants answers now, especially gamers. Gamers want answers now. We think we're entitled
Sure, but
to
in
them.
this case, we're literally talking about a company that has taken years and has yet to actually significantly change the culture. Ubisoft, same way.
Yep.
Origin, same way. Origin / EA.
Oh
whatever.
yeah,
all of it.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, no,
All
but
of them
the thing is the culture will never change because people still give them money. And until people stop consuming their product, it won't change.
I don't disagree. That's kind of the whole premise of this discussion. Is the problem is nothing will change until people stop spending their money. But people aren't going to stop spending their money. Why? Because they want their entertainment. I get it. I really do. But give it to an indie. Go find an indie game to play.
Right. I want my shut off my brain entertainment, and I want it now. And whatever flavor that takes. The other thing, the other thing is this, and the other side of the coin is that some indie developers, right? How do I put this? Some larger scale developers that are not quite AAA, but not really. They have taken it upon themselves to take the worst things about AAA studios.
Sure.
And create games and sell them. And that seems to be, for whatever reason, giving the entirety of the indie and lower tier, we'll call it AA, whatever you want to call it, right? Publishing community and market and companies, give them all the same stigma. And that's really frustrating for me.
Sure.
Because you have companies, or the company that made, the company that made Delta Force, right?
Right.
Was accused. Not Delta Force. Once Human. There we go. Mm-hmm. The company Once Human was accused of some interesting things about the things that it wants to get information from, right?
Right.
And interesting things it wants to pull information from when it comes to your PC, and what information it pulls from your PC, and why does it need access to these things, and they cast like a huge like shadow of a doubt over all these other companies. And that's not fair. That's not why. I'm legitimately asking you this. Why is it that one company that is slightly larger, but not quite AAA, can take on some of those AAA isms, we'll call it, right? And not catch the same shit AAA studios are catching, but two, why does that taint the rest of the industry below them as a whole?
That part's easy. That's one bad apple spoils a bunch.
Okay.
Right or wrong.
Okay.
Right or wrong. That part's easy. That's one bad apple spoils a bunch.
Okay.
Because, and that has to do with the fact that that's the way the world we live in. You know, people don't. It's difficult to get people as a whole to separate some of these things. Because I would like to say that there is no. It's like, you know, here's an example of a AAA company that doesn't do this, but I don't know one.
And that's the thing. I was about to say I don't know of any.
On the same token, you can go, well, here's a AA company or whatever you want to call it that doesn't do that. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's that one motherfucker over there that does that. Now, and especially when you start getting into issues of privacy and why are you pulling information,
Right.
And then you get into other things because let's face it, Microsoft's guilty of that same shit. Google is guilty of that same shit. Apple is guilty of that same shit. Why are you pulling this information? As a matter of fact, Google got taken to court and lost.
Yep.
For some of this stuff.
Twice.
And now they can't do it anymore, right? Right.
Twice.
So
because once wasn't enough.
You're like, right. Well, they liked it the first time. Snotty beamed them twice, and it was wonderful. So they're like it. But when a game company does it, it's like, look, just install your game,
right,
and then leave me the fuck alone.
Right. You don't need to know. Like, if you want to know what hardware my game is running on, so that you understand like why I'm having problems with whatever optimization you need to fix, whatever. That's one thing. But when you're sitting here and you want access to my game, my PC contacts, and you want to integrate with Discord, which then also pulls my Discord contacts, by the way, or you want to, you want to do all these things, like it's just a fucking nightmare.
And that's about the time I go uninstall, refund.
It's just a nightmare. Or these, or all of, or I mean, not to go on a security rant, but all these people who give their information willingly to whoever, whatever fucking company, without thinking.
To be fair, I kind of do that sometimes too. I'm like, they all, any information they're gonna get, it's already out there.
Well, fair, sure, but
and I do this shit for a living, so
yeah. I mean, yeah, fair. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, come on, like a little common sense, a little bit goes a long way.
But when I do install something, and there's some apps that are on my phone that I'm gonna go install on phone, it's like, we're gonna need permission for this, and this. You don't need any of that, so I guess I'll find another app.
Yeah, you're like, no, you don't. Thanks, bye.
Right. The same thing with games. And some of it is, some of their. I am not anti-cheat.
Right.
I really am not.
Right.
But some of those out there just suck.
The weird thing is that some of the anti-cheat stuff, especially the ones that are more popular among AAA companies, they can do things like,
Well, yes, because those are kernel level installs.
Yep.
Which means they do anything they fucking want.
Yep. And it's like, what the fuck?
That's the thing, and that's the problem with a lot of these. And I know I've got friends who are like, no, they use this anti-cheat. It's a kernel level installing happening.
Yep.
Yep. And I get it. Of course, at the same time, I'm like, hey man, you want my browser history? Well, good luck.
Right. Have fun.
Good luck sorting out that shit.
Right.
Yeah, that's going to take you everywhere from, Garth Brooks to volcanoes to Mayan legends and all points in between.
Right. Yeah. the weirdest thing for me, right? And part of this is what sparked this entire conversation in my head, right? Is that I can seem to get better value in my mind from the $40 I spent on Helldivers 2
Right.
than I can on the $70 I would have spent on Call of Duty.
Sure. Absolutely.
I get more
and that's
value.
price, right? You get more value. Let's even say you play the game the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Let's say you buy one $40 game and you play it for 100 hours, whatever.
Right.
You buy a $60, $70 or more game, play it for the same 100 hours. You still technically get more value out of the inexpensive product.
Yeah, it's
because it doesn't cost you as much per hour to play.
Right.
True. I mean, we've talked about this before. My metric is $3 an hour. Go back either last show, or the one before if you're really curious as to why that metric exists. It has to do with I'm old and internet used to cost you to play by the hour. So can I get $3 an hour out of that price? And increasingly with $60 games, the answer is becoming no.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. For me, I have become increasingly choosy in what I choose to spend my money on.
Once we pass the $50 mark, I every time it goes up another $10, I get choosier and choosier.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and it. I mean,
pretty soon I'm going to be Mikey. Give it to Mike. He hates it. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like you and I have spent a pretty solid amount of time in both Enshrouded and Nightingale.
Right.
Those two titles alone are the cost of one AAA video game.
Right.
I'm looking at my Steam library right now. I have, 25 hours in Enshrouded.
Right.
And
wait, we've only got 40. That's not right.
Oh, wow,
that can't be right.
It is. We did not do a lot of Enshrouded.
No.
We did a lot, but we did a lot very quickly in Enshrouded. Okay. Nightingale, I've got 45 hours.
I've got 32 and a quarter in Enshrouded. Let's see. Although I'm increasingly.
And then again, you add Pal World into that mix. And I got
50 hours
65 hours in Pal World.
Or I've got 50 hours into Nightingale.
Right.
I've got. Oof. You ready for this?
Yep.
200 hours in Pal World.
Oh, damn.
Well, 198.9. So 200
fine.
hours.
Yeah, round up.
Right.
I'll allow the round up there.
Right. I'm like, you might as well. I mean, and here again, let's go back to that. I paid $30 to play Path of Exile.
Right.
I've played for 40.4 hours.
Yep.
Technically, that meets my criteria.
Yep. I
got my money's worth.
Yep. Well, I mean,
also that means I can just put it away and never play it again and not feel bad about it.
Do me a favor. Go look at Avorion, would you?
Oh, good Lord. Do we really have to?
Yes.
Oh, God. Only 185, but I had it less. I've had it less time than Pal World.
Fair.
185 there. I mean, I got 50 hours into Atlas.
I mean, I just pulled up Dying Light 2. Because remember, you and I were playing Dying Light 2 for a long time, a couple years ago.
I've got 173 hours on this version of Ark.
Yeah, fair. In Dying Light 2, I've got 35 hours, and I mean, you and I mainlined that game for like a month.
Right. Where did I get that? Because apparently it was not on Steam.
I think it was Epic.
Okay, it might be.
Maybe.
It might be.
Trying to remember.
764 hours in Destiny 2.
I was about to say, well, and the thing of it is that remember
this version of Destiny 2?
These Destiny 2 numbers, I'm at 806 hours, but
these are not complete because it wasn't always on Steam.
Yeah, it doesn't include the battle. I think if I remember correctly, I'm something like 1,500 hours in Destiny 2.
Yeah, I'm well over 1,000. I know I am.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about Destiny 1.
Why not, Cheeks? Why? Why not? What's
Oh,
what
good
what
lord.
what
Those numbers
Destiny
are
one
large.
what Destiny one skeletons are you hiding in your closet?
I played a lot. Speaking of, hey, in the game that should not be named,
Yes,
I have 112 hours
and
already.
that's a beta.
Right. So you can't. Oh, there's Dying Light. I only have 37 hours in that. That seems a little low. Oh, that's Dying Light 1. Oh
But
yeah, I went back and played Dying Light 1 because it was on sale real low.
nice,
Because it came on sale and I was like, let's play the first one.
nice.
I've got.
Nice.
No, that's not right. I have got way more than 16 hours in Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's not right.
That's not right at all. That's not
Yeah,
even
no.
close. I played that game for weeks.
Yep.
140 hours in Empryon, which is another
Nice.
space survival game.
Nice.
223 hours in this version of Fallout 4.
Let's see.
it's just, it's so
this version of Fallout 76, 21 hours. I like yeah, like it's
right. This says I've got 21 hours in Fallout 76, and I'm like, no. Even
Valheim,
since it moved to
65 hours.
right. Let me scroll. My Steam library is large.
There's a search button.
247
Jesus
and a half.
Christ. Well, the other thing is like thinking about survival games, right? Valheim really paved the way for like a bunch of games you and I have played over the past couple of years.
Yeah, it did. That's true. That's very true.
It really paved the way for that. We would not have Enshrouded or Nightingale or
Right.
Once Human really or the other one V Rising. That's the one.
V Rising, yeah.
V Rising without.
That was an interesting game that
I loved.
didn't quite know what he wanted to be.
Yeah. I liked a lot of that game. I liked a lot of that game a lot. It's really fun. 90 hours in Helldivers 2. Jesus Christ.
Let's see. Let's just put it installed. There we go. Well, no, because then I can't look at things that aren't installed. Yeah, so point being is we invest time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the name of the show is Aggressively Casual, but yeah, we're definitely. I still don't consider myself hardcore.
We do drop some. I mean, fuck. I spent 55 hours in Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League last year.
Well, that's because you're a masochist.
Well, that's because the story in that game, much like Gotham Knights, the story in that game is incredible. Everything else they tried to shoehorn into it fucking sucked.
This is trying to tell me I have 24.3 hours in Elite Dangerous. I'm like, what, in 2 days?
Yeah, I was about to say, that doesn't seem right.
That ain't right at all.
Yeah, it don't seem right.
They must, at some point, if you uninstall something and then reinstall it, it must reset the timer. It has to.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's the only thing.
Because I played Elite almost exclusively for months.
Really?
And then less exclusively for years. It's been around for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, this says I only have 472 hours in No Man's Sky. But yeah, invest time. I'm willing to invest time. That's the thing. If your product is good, I'll invest time.
Yep. That's basically the gist of it, and the overall point to kind of put a cap on this, right, is that I think we both want to be able to trust what a AAA studio can bring. What?
Look at the chat. Is Destiny 2 hours?
Oh my God!
Right?
Dang, Hef. That is many.
That's a lot of hours, man.
It's a lot of hours. Yeah. But like, I think that we both want AAA games to succeed, because when AAA
Sure.
games succeed, the rest of the industry also succeeds. The problem is that they've got to get out of their own fucking way, and I don't think they're going to, and I know they won't
Right.
unless something drastic happens. And I
You know,
don't see that
yeah.
happening because consumers are sheep.
I'm like you. I don't want any game to fail because every game has its audience. It doesn't have to be me. I don't care.
Right.
There's plenty of games I don't
Games-
like. I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan, but there are many people that are.
I've said this for years, in that video games are for everyone, but not every video game is for every person, and that's okay.
Right.
This industry
It's
is
like,
big
it's
enough.
along the same lines of it's okay for a game to be good.
Right. This industry is full of something for every. There's if you have something you want to play or something that you like the idea of, guess what? There's probably a game out there for you. But
Right.
we people get so hung up on whether or not, X game is good or bad or whatever, and it just it especially when it comes to AAA studios.
Right.
Like, and that's another topic we could actually talk about another day, is why is it that we get hung up over these large AAA studios, right? And their games being so good, yet we give indie games and even like AA developed titles, stuff like that. Why do we give those a pass when we are so hard on AAA studios?
I don't, but yeah.
Right, but I'm talking about.
But here's the thing. Here's another
community
thing:
overall.
is why is it that damn, I had a thought. What was it? Shit. When it comes to these AAA games, we demand that. Why are we so surprised this day and age when a quote unquote indie game is good?
Right.
Going back to Pal World, people are like, "Holy crap!" And it's like any other thing. It was a surprise hit, yes, but there's been other games from big names that were surprise hits as well. So I don't understand why everybody, anytime it's an indie studio, it's like, oh wow, you guys really did something. Yeah, they did what they set out to do. That's weird.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that can be answered pretty easily, I think, in that nobody expects anything of indie devs.
Nobody expects the indie Inquisition.
But nobody expects independent developers to be able to do that, right? Nobody expected Pal World. Nobody expected Enshrouded or Nightingale, right?
That's another thing you won't get from AAA studios. You will never get a Pal World or a Nightingale or an Enshrouded because AAA gaming has the same problem Hollywood does at this point. They are risk averse.
Yep. I was about to say, there's too much risk.
They are terribly risk averse, and doing something like a Pal World or a Nightingale and trying to do something different with the genre. And here's the thing. Again, I'm gonna go back to gamers because some of this is on us. Gamers will sit there and the community will say, "We wanted you to do something different."
Yeah.
And then they do something different, and they're like, "Why did you do that?"
But not like that.
Right. But it's this, no, it's the same thing as it's the very same thing of when going back to Ren Fair, when you're doing pub singing, you tell a joke and you tell the same joke, and then people are like, "I want you to tell a new joke," and then you tell a new joke, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't tell my favorite joke." Well, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
You either want them to innovate, you either want AAA studios to innovate and take risks, or you don't. And what you have proven over the years, community, gamers, all of us, is that in general we don't. We want milk toast. We don't want the pizza.
Right.
We want the bland milk toast. We don't want the spicy brown.
Yep. That tracks.
And it's just, it is what it is. And some of them are like, well, it is what it is. So thankfully, there are companies out there that will still take a chance, whether you want to call them indies, AA, single A, whatever. I don't really know what the cutoff is, other than we know AAA involves stupid budgets.
Yep.
If you have the same amount or more money than a Hollywood, big blockbuster film, apparently you're a AAA studio.
Right? Apparently.
Doesn't mean your product's any good. Looking at you.
Right.
And that's the thing. And part of it, you get these companies that they built their reputation on putting out really good games. And then either they went public,
Right.
or they had something that was a stupid hit, and now all your shareholders expect the same amount of money from every project.
Yeah.
It's just but again, then you come to the churn and burn style of the actual industry, where that's great. These people, you got this big team, they're developing this game, but when you put it out, and live service games are an actually really good example of this.
Yeah.
The amount of people it takes to develop a Destiny or an Assassin's Creed or a Fallout is not the same amount of people it takes to maintain a Destiny or a Fallout or an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Or a Madden or a Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You don't need that same amount of people once you go live. So instead of just, hey, you know what? And part of this is because it's a lot of contract work.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys just all contract work, so you're not actually working for Ubisoft.
Right.
You're contracted to them. So at the end, they cut all these guys loose. So they're like, oh, now let's do Big Mega Project version 2, but it's none of the same people anymore.
Right.
Or very few of the same people.
I mean,
And the fact that some of these companies, but if you go back and look at when these companies were putting out blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster,
yeah,
it's because they did have the same teams doing it.
Yeah.
The guys from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 to Mass Effect 3, which may be arguably is one of, if not the greatest trilogy of games ever put out.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of the same names. Fast forward to 4, not so much.
Yep.
So, if you can't keep the same team, you're not going to be able to produce the same amount of quality. You're just not. Unless it goes back to, unless you pay these guys what they're worth. Which
again is another thing that apparently just never happens. So.
Now my question comes, okay, that's great. So you're still paying these guys like shit. Well, why the fuck do you need $400 million to make a game? Because it ain't going to salary. Where's it going?
Right.
Answer: marketing.
Marketing and the CEO's pockets.
It's like Destiny. You mentioned Vidocs. This pisses me off. How much money has Bungie put into that studio they now have for their Vidocs?
Yep.
A complete studio for this. That means nothing. Nobody gives a shit if they're not already playing the game.
Well,
when it comes to these Vidocs.
They wanted to.
And they suck. It's all soundbite, little teeny bit of footage.
Yeah,
soundbite. We're great. They're great. It's great. We're going to look forward to this. It changes the game. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Nothing.
I can't remember the last time you actually changed the game.
When Destiny 1 became Destiny 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they added mantling. That was good. That's the one thing. If they ported that to PC, I would play it, but man, I would miss the ability to mantle.
Same. Well,
I miss enough jumps with the mantle.
My conspiracy theory is that they will do what World of Warcraft has done with some of the classic stuff, and they will bring back Destiny 1 as a remaster with modern conveniences from Destiny 2.
I'm okay with that.
That's my conspiracy theory about if that was to happen. The only thing is right when it comes to Destiny, the only thing that can quote unquote save Destiny at this point is for them to completely chuck everything out the fucking window and go to and do a time jump to Destiny 3.
Right. But they're not going to do this.
But they're not.
All indications are.
But they're not going to do that.
Nothing going there.
Yeah.
But
that is the only thing that can save Destiny because Destiny 2 at this point has too much bad blood in the pool.
And the numbers don't lie. The numbers talk about sad numbers.
Right.
Destiny 2's got some pretty sad numbers right now.
Well, the other thing you want to talk about fucking like taking a game where this time last year Okay, well, I'd say we're 10, 11 months ago. Like, we
Right.
were mainlining Destiny for 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 hours every day,
Right.
right? Because the final shape was that good.
Right.
And then they put out the first episode, and all of that goodwill went out the goddamn out the
Well,
fucking window so
and I
fast.
do believe that I said then, okay, now what?
Yep. Well, and that's
You've ended it.
and
You've
that's
10-year cycle.
yep.
You took 10 years to get to this point.
Yep.
You mostly stuck the landing.
Yep.
It's a mostly satisfying ending.
Yep.
Now, what you really should have done is had a trailer for Destiny 3
Yep.
on the end of that, because Destiny 2 was coming to the end of life because your story is done.
Well, and to be fair, Bungie has said on numerous occasions that if Activision didn't push them to make Destiny 2, they never would have made to put a 2 on the end of that game. They never would have released Destiny 2, and it would still be called Destiny. Just like World of Warcraft, which for 20 years is still called World of Warcraft. It's also an older IP nowadays. So they have. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It is an older. I mean, it's a 11-year-old IP now, and they haven't done enough to change their games, or to change
Right.
the game or gameplay or anything.
Here's where I'm going to
People
give
will
Blizzard
eventually
some
move
credit.
on. Yeah.
And write this down.
Oh God,
'cause I don't
I have-
do this very often.
All right, hold on, wait. Let's see. What's today?
Right.
1/12/25.
I don't often say good
Cheeks
things about Blizzard.
Gives Blizzard credit. Right.
But when it comes to WoW, now this, to be fair, it's not enough to make me come back to the game. But they have innovated features into that game
Yep.
to make it better, to try to help retain, to try to help new players catch up to the old players.
Yep. Yep.
You're not wrong. It's tough. It's rough.
Look,
you know.
I have played WoW for 20 years. I am the first person to say that Blizzard is the best when it comes to making a complete package in terms of an MMO. They are also one of the worst at making changes stick expansion to expansion when it comes to an MMO.
Well, and right after a while, you're like, hey, I really like that feature. Sorry, gone.
Now, I mean, look, it's been 20 years. We're finally getting player housing this year, for fuck's sake.
Right, and it probably won't be much. Like,
Well,
here's your
actually, things I can't talk about on stream. Got it.
right. Here's your hut. I did see a thing the other day, tangential to Blizzard. Tangential, that's a good word. A guy did a diorama of the inn. I can't remember the name of it. Just outside of Stormfront, the first inn. Out in the field.
You talking about Goldshire?
Yeah, the inn in Goldshire. He did a lovely little diorama of that, miniature diorama.
Nice.
Of the inn. Yeah, it was quite nice.
They didn't change it enough to innovate for catch up old players and new. They just wanted to. I disagree with
Doesn't
that.
Doesn't that amount to the same thing?
I mean, but I also
Different market is by definition new.
Yeah, but I also disagree with that because Blizzard spent a bunch of time, especially with the War Within, changing fundamental things about the way that their game works to make sure that they attract as many people as possible. And I said this. I said this like on the first show we did, and I said this when I was testing or when I was doing my why don't we try for the War Within. For the first time since Wrath of the Lich King, World of Warcraft feels like World of Warcraft again. Because everything in the War Within is built with purpose.
Everything is awesome when you're part of a team.
Everything is built.
Thing about
everything in the War Within is built with such purpose. Attractive.
Right.
Well, but the thing is, they do support their older players because they have so many. Because now, when you come to a new expansion, right? Let's say you're coming back to a new patch, right? There are so many catch-up mechanics built into the game now that you can, even if you want to level a fresh character, let's say you want to start completely new, you can level a character right now in World of Warcraft from 1 to 80 in about 2 weeks. because there's a 30% experience boost in Dragonflight and the War Within Zones. There's a 10% experience boost for this. You know, a 20% experience boost for the XYZ. Like, there are boosts in the game so you can play the game the way you want to get to the experience you want to have.
Well,
There's
that goes
so
back
much
to what we were talking
agency.
about last show.
Yeah,
About giving players agency, but you also have to balance the fact that I can't really let out. And part of this, again, I'm going to call gamers out on this one. Well, I'm on a roll, and part of this is, well, by God, I spent 100 hours getting my character to there. You should have to too. I walked up. I went to Ironforge uphill in the snow both ways barefoot. Damn it.
Yeah, right.
So
Well,
you should too, and that's part of the problem. So now they yeah, exactly. Older players don't want catch-up mechanics, but you do still experience the full game, and there's nothing that says you have to take advantage of those. But this is the problem, right? I want to do it my way. Well, you can't have it both ways.
Right. You can't. You in this scenario, there's no way to please everybody, so they have to please as wide of a part of the people as possible. Right now, granted, look, older players not wanting catch-up mechanics. I mean, personally, I'm going to say that's crap because I've been playing this game for 20 years and I want catch-up mechanics.
If I start a new character, I don't want to spend months.
Right? I don't want to
back up.
I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be classic because I don't want to have to grind for a fucking key to get into a dungeon or to get into a raid to maybe get loot from there. I don't have that kind of time anymore. I'm not. You know, I'm not a kid anymore. I have a kid. Like,
right.
You know that. I understand.
Well, that's just it.
Yeah. Like,
and part of that is target market, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Is your target market working adults, or is your target market young adults, older, kids that don't have anything but time to burn?
Fortnite is in that realm. You know, Fortnite's target market is that younger is the younger demographic, right?
Yeah. Now, but Jeff, don't get me started on the actual story thing. Don't do that.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. You're telling me, Jeff, you are telling me that they dropped Act 3, but you have to play through all of Act 2 to get to Act 3, even if you don't want to. I don't like that. I don't know why I don't like it, but if something's not resonating with me, I shouldn't have to play it.
Right.
But that's just me. If something's not resonating with me, but I like the game, like if your new content is resonating with me, like I don't want to, spend the time and the energy. It's just not worth it.
Right.
But that just bugs the shit out of me. But again, that's also the Bungie way.
Going back to the same thing, the phrase "so you can experience the full game." How does a catch-up mechanic not let you experience the full game? It actually lets you experience the full game faster. That just means, I want to make sure that everyone has to grind for 800 hours to get to the same place.
Well, that's it's the same market for Modern WoW and Fortnite. Drop in, do a bunch of quick stuff with instant gratification, and drop out. It's interesting that you're saying that WoW is full of instant gratification because WoW still has a pretty massive grind for actually worthwhile
As someone who tried
gear.
to go back to WoW recently, I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
Like I'm having a hard time understanding what you mean about with WoW. Like, do you have to play through the expansion? Yes. So you now have in WoW, because there's been so many expansions, right? You have your starting zone, and then you have your, slightly leveled up starting zone. So let's say you're starting with Alliance, right? You start. Well, right, but there have been 10, 8, 9 expansions for WoW. You can't expect somebody to play through every single expansion to get every single story. You've got to pick which expansions you want to play through, and they do a really good job of giving you that information when you go to pick the expansion or the content you want to play through. They give you the choice of what you want to do because that gives you agency, right? If I'm coming to the game and I want to play, the newer content, I can go through and play, Legion up through the newest content. If I want to play the older content, I can go and play Classic and Burning Crusade and Lich King and Kata, and then go and do War Within stuff. Like, well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I can understand like the mentality there of like wanting to play through the whole story to get like everything, but at the same time, with WoW specifically, there's a lot of lore in WoW.
So, but that's a choice, right? That's your choice because you've decided. If you decide to do this, for example, AJ's been playing this game forever. He's got a bunch of max level characters. He's raiding. I either want to join that or I don't.
Right.
Like I want to play through the whole story and I'll just join that when I eventually catch up.
Right.
You have both options. There's nothing that says you can't. But if I want to go, look, I'm getting this game because a friend of mine plays this game. He's like, come and play the game. But I don't want to spend 6 months or more catching up.
Right. Now, granted,
just so I can then play with my friend.
And that's the other thing that people forget about WoW specifically is that WoW right now is like 3 games in one when you pay your subscription fee. You've got Classic, which is just Classic, which is just vanilla, right? You've got the Classic progression servers, which are going through all of the expansions, right? We'll be up to Mist of Pandaria this year. And then you've got retail, which is the newest, latest, greatest, yada yada, blah blah blah. Then on top of that, they also have the hardcore versions of Classic, which is and hardcore versions of Classic and hardcore versions of the Classic progression. So that's 5 games in one. Like, how would anyone choose?
EverQuest and EverQuest 2, same thing.
Right, yeah. EverQuest is
it's a very popular thing now with MMOs.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Blizzard totally was trend hopping when they started that. Like, I fully admit that.
What was that thing that we just tried where they were doing the season thing? It was Classic, but it was like...
Oh, Season Discovery.
Yeah, Season of Discovery.
Yeah. Season of Discovery is the most brilliant thing that they've done for Classic in fucking ever. And it only supposedly I have friends who still play Season of Discovery. I dropped off because I didn't have anybody else to play with at the time. But supposedly it only got better. It only once they fine tune some things because they're in like phase 6 now.
That's apples to oranges, mate.
I get that. But it's only modern games are doing this. For example, if you are a pro golfer, want to have a friend play with you, of course, we just give them free. Well, I mean, yeah, but that's also
apples to oranges.
Yeah,
that's apples to oranges. What we're getting at, and I'm gonna call you out a little bit on this, is elitism. I spent the time. I'm playing at this level. You should do that too. You're not necessarily wrong, but here's the thing: if I catch up. If I catch up, get a 3-month level, say it takes me a month to get to level 80, I guarantee you're not going to be as good as that person that's been doing it for years.
Right.
So you still have to put in the time eventually. But at least I can get up there and try, and I could die with my friends and, be the joke of the raid or whatever. But saying it's like, oh, well, he's a pro golfer, that's apples to oranges in this case.
Yeah.
Because
we're not.
Yeah.
I again, I understand the point you're making. But it's not an apt comparison to modern video games.
Good conversation, by the way. Don't misunderstand me.
Yeah, seriously.
Don't misunderstand anything I say. Great conversation.
Yeah, seriously. Thank you. This has been wonderful. But like, I almost wonder because you and I had the same conversation, Cheeks, with Destiny when they did the content vault, right? it was the same kind of thing where, you know, people new people coming in have got to be confused as fuck. Because
because you're missing half the story.
Well, and here's the thing is that I went through and I tested this. I tested the new light experience on my PS5. It's it ain't great. It's bad. It's very bad. Very bad.
To fall off on a Destiny tangent, and content vaulting, you know, now everybody and another YouTuber that I follow, CB Gray, posted a thing from his marathon stream where they were back in Destiny 1 getting every single exotic.
Yep.
Stream didn't end until they got every exotic. That took a while. But anyway, he was talking about, and he has a point, that that sunsetting is not the problem.
Yep.
Sunsetting has become this umbrella term for two different things.
Sunsetting is a scapegoat.
Because he pointed out that sunsetting in Destiny has been around since the Taken King. And sunsetting is they take weapons out of the game, they put a comparable amount of weapons into the game. Content vaulting is a completely different thing. That's just basically removing shit from the game and not replacing it with anything.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Because saying, hey, I'm going to remove this so I can give you this new thing, that's great, but what are you going to replace the old thing with so that when I come back, you know, when somebody new comes in, it's like you said, now you get this weird new player experience, this bastardized thing. But the problem is content vaulting as opposed to weapon sunsetting. I think he's mostly right. I do get annoyed when I've spent some time, you know, and this is again goes back to a little elitism in my own self. I get a little annoyed when I spend hours grinding for a weapon only to have them sunset the damn thing and I have to go find something else.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that happened to you in Destiny, didn't it?
Right. It happened. I did a crap ton of grinding for the original breakout or whatever it was from Gambit.
Yeah.
It's a great great gun. At least I love the gun. It's not that great of a gun, but it was. And they sunset the damn thing, and so you get rid of them all, and then they got rid of that, and I was, it's like, And then they brought it back, but the new version is not as good.
Nope. No, it is not.
Even if you get the same roll.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
It's not the same. So breakneck. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That gun. Yeah, break this,
dancing,
break dancing,
whatever.
Right, whatever. You get the point. But,
Auto rifle 2, electric boogaloo.
Exactly. It is something about it does not feel as good. I will concur with you on that. But
the problem is with gaming and the catch-up mechanics versus not catch-up mechanics is, again, now you're caught between a rock and a hard place because eventually all of those older players will start to go away. And the only way you keep making money is to bring in new players. And WoW does have some of the same problem. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Any game that's been around for ages has this problem.
Yeah. Any game that's been around for a long time has that issue.
Especially in MMOs. EverQuest has this problem. EverQuest 2 has this problem.
Well, the thing,
and typically EverQuest 2 now.
But here's the thing with EverQuest, right? Is that EverQuest was designed to be that way from the start. EverQuest is a sandbox MMO, right?
Right.
So, like, you get story bits here and there, and it is what it is. But, like, if you didn't, but even from the start, if you didn't have a goddamn encyclopedia next to you, or a goddamn web browser open up on something where you were trying to figure out, you know, what was what, who to talk to, and what to do, like, you were fucking lost. Same thing with fucking Star Wars Galaxies. Like there's a story in Galaxies, but it was very much the story that you made that game.
Sure, I could argue that original EverQuest was much the same. You're not the hero, you're a hero.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elite Dangerous is that same way. Here's your Cobra, have fun. Boop, out in the galaxy.
Right. Well, that's the other thing is at least World of Warcraft treats you and games like EQ treat you as, you know, you are one of many. Destiny treats you as a single player fucking Destiny from Destiny 1 until
The
now
story is a single player story.
It is a single player story in a multiplayer game.
Right.
drives me batty.
And it does get a little confusing sometimes when you're like, yes, in your version of the game, you are the Guardian. In Jeff's version of the game, it's Jeff. In AJ's version of the game, it's AJ. In John Q. Public's version of the game, it's them. And you just have to. Again, that's where it comes with the wibbly wobbly hand wavy stuff.
Yep, your Sims kind of go wee. Yeah.
But EverQuest, WoW, especially classic WoW. EverQuest 2 is a little bit more guided, but still, you're just in the world, and the world things are happening around you. Elite is probably the most that way, where you're in the galaxy. The galaxy doesn't give two shits.
Right. Didn't give two shits by you.
Doesn't give two shits about you, and nobody cares.
Here's a question then, based off of the episode we did a couple weeks about survival games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of a survival game that's like that?
What? Where you're not the big damn hero?
Where you are
Every
one of...
survival game is that way.
Well, but eventually you get to become the big damn hero of the survival game. My thing is...
You kind of do in every other game too. That's the thing.
Yeah, but is there a survival game you can think of? And again, you've played a shit ton more of these than I have, where the agency is in the world around you, not your character.
Again, virtually every survival game is actually set up that way. Look at Ark. The lore is piecemealed out across the world. You don't know shit about how you ended up on this thing with dinosaurs. Pal World, talk to the NPCs. They don't care about you. You're just another tamer in the world.
Fair. Okay. Fair.
That's the thing. In Valheim, you're just another dead guy.
You're just another dead guy. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Remember, in Valheim, we're in the afterworld.
That's right. We are. Yep.
You're dead. We're all dead.
Which
is why we can keep coming back to not dead, but we're dead. Yeah. So don't think too hard about that.
Yeah, right. We're dead, but not dead. We're mostly dead.
MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries is that way. You're just another mercenary company trying to make your way in the galaxy.
Yeah, we're not going to talk.
Yes, there is a single player story, but it only revolves around you. It's only important to you.
I can't talk about MechWarrior 5, man. Oh God,
I'm not talking about clans.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the previous one.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Clans is a whole other monkey.
Clans is a mess.
Specifically played MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries.
Fair.
Fair. Which is Intersphere 25 years before the clan invasion. I love games like old school EverQuest when you have to discover the lore. If you want to figure out the lore, you literally can go to the library in the game and find some books to read.
Yep, I love games like that. Or there are books
all over the world.
You
are just another hero. At times you become the hero, but tomorrow you're not the hero anymore. You're just back to that guy.
Do you know what game I was thinking of the other day that I couldn't put the name to? Foxhole. Have you heard about that game?
That is the second time today that game has come up, and I have never played it, and I'm going to have to go look.
Have you heard about it?
No, I had not. But my brother asked me about that today.
Everything in that game.
The damn thing up.
Everything in that game is player built and player managed. Everything.
Interesting.
It's so good. So good. It is one of the best games I have put no time in. It is an incredible game. It still finds ways to surprise me. It is a massively multiplayer game where basically you shape the outcome of a persistent online world that lasts, I want to say, there's like a set number of weeks. Right? Where the marketing blurb, I'm going to read this verbatim, says players are the content in this sandbox war game. Every individual soldier is a player that contributes to the war effort through logistics, base building, reconnaissance, combat, etc. It's so good. My question is,
What if I don't want a base build?
Then you don't. Then you go do something
You
else.
know, right up until time everybody else on the server says, "Why don't you fucking build a base, man? You got to build the base."
That's not how it works in this particular game. Like you can do what you want. Sorry, I'm just catching up on your message here. Better connected to the game and emotionally invested when you have this potential. Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Exactly.
more immersive.
Well,
Totally.
now here's a question, and I don't know if you can answer this from the marketing material we've seen. It seems like from the marketing material I've seen for Dune and the gameplay videos I've seen for Dune Awakening that is how Dune Awakening is. And I'm really interested to see if that's actually the case when that game when
I
game
think
launches.
Dune is another one where well they've didn't they show the little intro video?
Yes.
So the intro video, if you recall, it's Paul talking about this is the only path where didn't lead to the jihad.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dune lore, so I'm going to talk about Dune lore. So
buckle in.
Spoilers for the movies, but buckle in. So Paul Atreides becomes essentially the Messiah, but it leads to this massive war, and he's desperate to try to avoid it. According to the intro of this game, the way they've set this up, and I remember talking about this at the time, is one of the two ways they could have gone. I might have preferred they went the other way, but this will be fine. Is a timeline where Paul Atreides never was born, that Jessica had a daughter as she was ordered to by the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah.
And then, but the last thing is, he's like, this is the narrow way through, and it doesn't lead to Muad'Dib, it leads to you. So there's a little bit, I think there's going to be a little bit of both, you know, so
Fair.
because that line kind of says there's a storyline that revolves around you.
Right.
You know, but looking at other FunCon games, because I played the bejeebus out of Secret World.
Yeah.
Secret World was so good. The world itself is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to talk about stuff that just happens around you. You're in the world, but the world don't care. Well, right. Nobody wants to kill the little cutesy guy. Well, then you're gonna die because you're gonna die of.
I think it's funny
dehydration.
testing how many people died of lack
Secret
of
World's
fluids.
great, but the gameplay was decent. The world itself is amazing.
And that was my point with Secret World. A Secret World, I kept playing that game originally for the world.
I still play that game.
The gameplay was okay. The gameplay is still very okay, but the world and the lore is so good. It's the same.
The world and the lore, but you have to go find it, right?
Right.
It doesn't just you like when you get dropped into Secret World and you're dropped into that first town, who I'm blanking on its name, but. And all this weird Cthulhu shit is happening.
Right.
You don't know why, right? It takes almost that entire thing to start to unravel why this is happening.
It's the same thing as oh man, I'm gonna blank on the title. Oh god, I'm gonna blank on this like you wouldn't. Oh god. Oh man. Yep, gone. Thought completely gone. Well, the complete opposite effect, oddly enough, happened in Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Right.
Because let's be real, BioWare had no business making an MMO. None. EA just wanted
such a good single player or co-op game.
EA just wanted a new MMO they could trot out. And Star Wars was the hot IP at the time. Right. Now, granted, The Old Republic is still one of my favorite Star Wars games ever.
Still a good game. I still have it installed.
And the fact that game is still going is incredible. The fact that it's changed. The fact that it's now changed development hands as well.
Right. Just goes to prove that there are no game killers. Right.
Right.
WoW was supposed to kill EverQuest. Huh. Right. EverQuest just released its 30th expansion. The original EverQuest, not even EverQuest 2.
Right. Well, the thing is when it comes to EverQuest and MMOs in general, is that I firmly believe that as long as there is some form of an audience or some
Right.
form of interest, and MMO will never truly die. Look at Galaxies, for crying out loud. Look, Star Wars Galaxies is running on 4 different emulations right now,
Right.
and 2
Well,
of them are
City of Heroes is running on at least 3 different emulators.
right.
One of
Exactly.
them now, one of them now has permission to run.
Yep. Most games.
However, out of the blue, there's news that Starship of Heroes might be actually showing up this year.
I was gonna say, whatever happened to that other one that was?
That's the one.
No.
That's it.
Is that? I thought there was another one. Hold on.
Well, there was. What are you talking about? Champions Online? Champions died.
No,
Champions died a cold death. The only active superhero game that I know of right now is DC Universe.
No, right. City of Titans. That's the one.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
It's on a starship.
Isn't that like still in like development hell though, or whatever, or is that?
No, there was news on that recently that it may actually see the light of day, like soon.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll see if it actually happens. Don't get me wrong.
But yeah, I have to agree. There can't. Most game killers are themselves. Yep. I have said for years the only thing that will kill Star Wars: Old Republic is Star Wars: Old Republic. The only thing that will kill WoW is WoW. The only thing that will kill Destiny is Destiny, and they're doing a damn good job of that.
They're doing a damn good job of it. So like, and I like the fact that there are games out there that are emulated. I still have the Vanguard emulator installed.
You fucking nerd.
I've had the City of Heroes one installed multiple times.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, my thing with City of Heroes, right, is that City of Heroes was such a pivotal game for me that trying to go back to it is I can't. I've tried because it's not my characters. It's not the ones that it's not the people.
Well, when I have
with.
to start over in an MMO that I played for ages, I have very similar problems.
Yeah.
My original time with City of Heroes was one of the few games that I went altaholic in. You've seen me play MMOs. I typically have 1, maybe 2 characters.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
If somebody says, well, I might start one if a group of people says, let's go start a group to do this.
Right.
But for my stuff, I'm not an altaholic. I have a friend of mine who she is the ultimate altaholic. She has I think at last count 40 characters in WoW. But the point is, because that's what she likes to do. Instead of changing a build on an existing character, she just gets another one.
Hey, fair.
Does the same thing in Diablo. Because that's what she likes to do, and that's why she gets her enjoyment, and I love that.
Right.
It's just not for me.
Right.
But City Heroes, I had 15 different characters.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, you want to talk about nerd, just plant that flag, because every single character I created in City of Heroes had an origin story that I wrote.
I love it.
That was in game. That was lore accurate.
Mine, I was the same way with the Old Republic. That is the first game where I completed every original class story. All 8 of them.
I've done most of them.
All 8 of them.
I think there's a couple I haven't done.
It is without a doubt. It is without a doubt one of the best story Star Wars. It was incredible. When we're talking about Old Republic specifically, my favorite stories, the Jedi Knight, because that is the actual canon finger quotes story of the Old Republic.
Sure.
And then to the Imperial Agent.
The Imperial Agent's a good one.
Agent. You're basically James Bond.
The Sith Inquisitor was good too.
The Sith Warrior. Sith Warrior, and then the Bounty Hunter.
Bounty Hunter was good.
Oh, the Trooper. The Trooper is also really good.
My highest character is the Sith Inquisitor.
I thought for some reason you were all 15 with the same build. I wouldn't put it past him, Can. I would not put it past him.
It could happen.
He would do it just to spite you.
City of Heroes also, use your words, also appealed to the, and those of you that know me, the online fashionista in me. because
Dude,
you could do so much with the character
dude, how
creator.
how many times have you and I spent nights just in Destiny, just fucking around with
Right.
shaders and
Changing
outfits and
shaders.
transmog and
I
all
used to
that
do
shit.
that. I do that. I used to do that to
Fashion
Jeff all
Destiny,
the time. Every
right?
time Jeff would go in his menu, I go change my shader.
Yeah, yeah. Fashionscape is the real end game. It happens in
That's right.
every. It's great. It's great. I mean,
You are
I
not
love it.
wrong.
Right? Well,
Fashion is the end game.
and you've got in the Old Republic, you've got player housing. You've had player housing in the Old Republic since I
Right.
think day one, maybe
Pretty
first
much the
expansion.
beginning. Yeah.
And my God, some of the houses people.
Oh yeah. I did
Ooh,
some pretty complicated builds back in the day myself, but nothing like some of those guys. You're just like, holy crap. I did some of the fish tank builds in EverQuest too.
nice.
Those were amazing.
Well, like you want to talk about an MMO that gives you all of the story if you want to go and experience it. Lord of the Rings Online. I know, I know you've heard me say this, but I don't think the podcast has.
I played it.
Lord of the Rings Online is hands down the what I'd say top 3 MMO stories of all time. It is so good, and that game is slept on. That game
Yeah,
that game has
it
always been
was.
slept on. Yeah, that game has always been slept on. And yeah, Final Fantasy 14 is the full story. The Final Fantasy 14 story is incredible. My problem is with the new expansion's out. New expansion came out in the beginning of December. It is incredible, and they are doing the same thing that all their other games are doing, where they're doing the progression server. So I've been going. I joined the progression server and have been going and messing about with all the progression server stuff. So I'm experiencing the story like as it was meant to be experienced, as you put earlier, right? And that's been incredible for me. I am so in love with that game.
Another good one that doesn't get a lot of press anymore.
What?
It's still around. I don't think it's as good as it used to be. DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Ooh, yeah.
The game was so good when it came out.
Oh, DDO was DDO. I think DDO was between.
It was one of the few games where I was sad when they made it more soloable.
Yep.
Because I took extreme pleasure of being able to solo in that game that was not supposed to be solo.
Do you know which other one was very slept on and never really got the recognition it deserved? Neverwinter. I'm not talking about Neverwinter Nights. I'm talking about Neverwinter.
I knew you were going to say that.
Neverwinter.
Share that same opinion.
Neverwinter is it's
good.
It's so good.
It's not. It's good.
It's so the story is good. The combat, the action combat system in Neverwinter is amazing. Oh, so good, so good. But I mean, really, we're all just searching for the next Dark Age of Camelot, right?
Oh god, I have so many hours in that game.
Dude, so do I. Oh my god.
Especially once they put the co-op server in.
Yep.
When they put the because again, I am never have been all that much into PvP. It just doesn't trip my trigger.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I can do it. I'm not terrible at it, but I ain't great at it either. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I am definitely middle of the pack when it comes to that PvP. I mean, I've spent hours in the Crucible, in Destiny. I spent tons of time, and I spent time in the PvP areas of Dark Age of Camelot because you had to because of some of the quests.
Man,
but when they put the co-op server in,
yep,
and you could cross realm and put together the perfect group.
Yep.
I had 2 friends that I played that game with. They were only 2 left, pretty much. But we had 4 characters because I was 2 boxing at the time, and we're doing shit that you could not do with a full raid on the regular servers because you couldn't get the right mix of characters to make it happen with the abilities to make it happen.
Yep. Oh man. Yeah. God. Oh, Dayak is. Oh.
This is great. Well, and again, the lore was good. The way they set that world up. The problem is realm versus realm rarely works out. Why? because, well, I want to play with my friends.
Yeah. Yep.
So when you and they kicked around, and there for a while, if you remember, Dark Age would lock realms
Yep.
to where you can't join right now. Well,
Yep.
they lost a lot of players because of that.
They did. They did.
Because I don't want to play over there. I want to play with my friends, which again was why the co-op server worked so great. Didn't matter anymore. Play what you want.
Yep.
Play it your way.
Man.
Looking at you, Bungie.
Right? Yeah. Play your way. All right.
Come on. Graphic me. I needed. Did you catch that for that? Yeah,
I
buddy.
did. I did.
You know.
But yeah, I like yeah, oh god, I think I lost. I
Dark
know.
Age of Camelot was probably the last MMO I did.
I know
in.
that I lost a summer to Daok. I know that I did.
I lost more than one.
Well, I loved it. The weird thing is, Daok is still around.
Yeah,
it's not what it once was.
But it's aggressively the way their sub works. I looked into it. I'm like, God damn it!
How bad is it?
Plus, with Trials of Atlantis, DOC kind of did some power creep that kind of screwed everything up.
Really?
Yeah, Trials of Atlantis was a good concept, but the gear was so much better, it kind of invalidated everything else in the world.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And people complained about it then.
I had to go see the cover art real quick to oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I still have screenshots from Daok sitting my shit on my
But like I just like oh man, like
I want a game that makes me feel. And here's the thing. So, and I've talked about this before. I started EverQuest in Beta 3. The original EverQuest in Beta 3. Started a dwarf, because at the time you were a dwarf or a human, and that was pretty much your only options. Rift was really good.
Dude, Rift was so good.
The first time I was coming back to Thurganon, and I came over the hill.
Yeah.
And that massive fucking gate was there.
Yep.
And in EverQuest, that happened time and time again.
Wait, hold on.
The Dragon Gate to Velius.
You mean that cliff you flew over in New World didn't make you feel that way?
No, that was funny though. Apparently has started a whole thing because I keep doing it now. But I got some of that same feeling as Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
I remember playing the beta for that, and I played long, and I sense a theme. But anyway, I hit the planet. The name of the planet did not register at the time.
Right.
But I come over the hill, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, hang on. That is the Guardian of Forever. And I literally just stopped, and I stared. Was like, holy shit. By the time WoW came along, though, I wasn't getting that anymore. And now, granted, Star Trek Online is post-WoW, but that's because it's Star Trek, and I'm a huge Trek nerd. WoW for me, by the time WoW came along, because I've already played EverQuest, I've already played Dark Age of Camelot.
Right.
As much as I like classic WoW, and I enjoyed the hell of my time in it, I still had a lot of been there, done this already feel.
Yeah.
The only thing that WoW gave us was the steampunk gnomes and dwarves. And I dug that, don't get me wrong. I remember, man, I'll tell you what, I will go to my grave saying that no one does a cinematic like Blizzard.
Right. Yep.
Blizzard is the far and away king of the cinematic, and you can go back and go on YouTube right now. You can see every cinematic that's ever been done in WoW, and go watch that original one with that dwarf outside of Ironforge with his bear and his rifle. This day,
you can go back farther than that.
Oh my god! Well,
you can go back. You can go back to Warcraft 3.
Yeah, you can go back as far as you like. You can go back and watch the original Diablo cinematics, but I'm specifically talking about World of Warcraft in this case because it's pertinent to the subject of I want a game to make me feel. You know, with that first trailer, I remember seeing that first trailer, and I'm like, I'm in. You know, oddly enough, big disappointment. The very first trailer that came out for Star Citizen.
Yep.
It's just an opening cinematic, and you're sitting there, and not to granted, because I'm an old gamer, and Wing Commander was pivotal for me. That may be the first game that had just massive impacts on my entire gaming life from them forward.
Yeah.
And when that first trailer for Star Citizen came out, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, that looks a whole lot like a Confed cruiser. And then it comes across the bottom of the screen, Vega system. I literally went, take my money. Even though he couldn't call it Wing Commander at the time because he didn't own the rights to that anymore, it's since reverted back to him. And even without the mess that the Star Citizen has become, it made me feel right. And I'm still searching for that. I want that, but the problem is, we can't go home again, right? You can't go back to your first love,
Right.
because you've had it, and now everything that comes after that is different.
Yep.
So I can't find a game that makes me feel like those early days of MMOs, because we're not there anymore. And it's all, but I can find a game, hopefully, I'm almost done, sorry, that will at least make me feel. And the way that does that is going back to what we were talking about earlier, is why I like games where you're just in the world and it's your own headcanon that creates the story.
Yeah.
It's probably why I like survival games so much, because you're out there trying to do the thing, you know.
Well, and here's the interesting thing is that I am often in search of the next
Great show.
game that will give me that feeling, right?
Right.
And the last game that I remember giving me that feeling was Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws had moments where, I think you sat through most of my playthrough with me on that.
I did.
Like the day that game launched, I stayed up all fucking night. I was up from 11 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock in the morning. I hadn't done that in 10 years.
For me, that was probably Cyberpunk.
Because it was so good. And it brought back a feeling that I haven't had in, again, half a decade. I want that experience again. But I want that experience again in a multiplayer game. Because I want a game where I can log in with my friends and I can feel like we are all A, accomplishing something together, right?
Right.
But B, I want to make those memories. I want to make memories that I'll remember 10 years from now when some of them are dead.
I still remember the very first time we killed Lady Vox in EverQuest.
Yeah.
I still remember that first time. Probably because I got the kill shot, but I still remember it. Somewhere I still have the screenshot of it. My piss-ass little halfling druid managed to...
I hope...
Boom.
I hope you're right, and I hope that Riot MMO becomes A, a reality, and B, that they understand that that's the feeling we're all chasing, right? Like, video games, at the end of the day, like, they're entertainment, yeah, they're escapism, yeah, but they're memories, right? And you've got to tap in to that thing, and it only happens so very rarely these days. And when it hits, you're just like, aha! I found the thing. It's coming. I can. Oh, great, wonderful, awesome. Thank you. Well, now we know. But yeah, I hope
more games that shall not be named.
Yeah, right. More games we can't talk about.
We should change the name of the show to Games That Shall Not Be Named.
Right. Right. But like I said, I am hopeful that Yeah, what year? Yeah, it'll come in 2045. It's fine. But like I'm hopeful that Dune Awakening gives some of that feeling because it looks like it could. And given the fact that people that I know that have played that game have told me that they have played it for an entire day and haven't moved and can't remember the last time it was that they did that. That gives me hope for that title. I'll put it that way. But I don't know. I want. There we go. All right, cool. I want. Sorry, just reading something real quick.
Right. I agree. I want something that makes me get lost.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna lose myself in a game for a while, and
For many years, that was Destiny.
yeah, and I want one of those games, where I look up and I forget that I realize that it's 11 o'clock at night and I forgot to eat dinner, that kind of thing.
Which Dune test? Because I understand that anybody in those tests is under NDA.
Dune test pretty good. Only issue performance. I'm not saying it's sustainable, but it's never been found. Yep, fair.
It's early days for that sort of thing, though.
Yeah. I've seen some things that it's better than it was. But again, we'll
Right.
Oh,
Well, the
feedback,
thing is,
yeah.
too, this is really it's Funcom's second attempt at an actual MMO, if you count Conan Online. So everything else, like Conan Exiles, etc., like that, has individual servers, and you can get private servers, which supposedly Dune Awakening, based on the published roadmap, is supposed to eventually get private servers, which also
Right.
excites me, because again, I'm not big in PvP, but I still want to see those areas. So if I have my own damn server, I can do what I want.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
Conan was wild.
Conan Exiles was good. Could have been great. I trust that Funcom has learned some lessons from that.
Yep.
Um,
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. Is
those lessons learned.
I think and hope that they've implemented some of the lessons they learned from Conan and from other
Right.
experiences, and
from Secret World.
And from Secret World. Yeah, right. Yeah. But we are coming up on a couple hours here.
I guess it's their third
Yeah.
because I forgot about Secret World was originally a Funcom game. It was a Funcom game. as
Oh
well.
God, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that too. What? So like I on the similar topic then, what games that are like coming out in the next couple of months? Like, is there anything that has your eye, like that you really want to like dive into when it comes out, that we have like stuff we have release dates for? Like, let's say like Monster Hunter or
Monster Hunter kind of has my eye. I played the first one. Well, yeah, and it was good.
Yeah.
So it kind of got my eye. It's not a must play for me, but it's also not I'm not gonna bother.
Right. Fair.
A lot of it will be how the co-op play goes, because I think that's a game that really is at its best when you're playing with friends.
Yep.
A lot of things are better, frankly, when you're playing with friends and we're just faffing about, right?
Yeah.
Remember, it's a game. It's supposed to be entertainment, which is kind of part of my problem with raiding. Is it just all gets so damn serious, and everybody has to stay so focused, and trying to be on your A game for 6 to 8 hours of a raid is just kind of fucking ridiculous after a while.
Hi, that's me here every Tuesday.
So I want something that I don't have to.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about
Adamfall. There's a couple other things, but I'm kind of blanking at the moment. Of coming. I don't know. Let me look on my wish list.
Yeah, Adamfall could be good. I'm definitely interested in Adamfall.
There's what's that one? Avowed. We're waiting on that one.
Oh yeah, Avowed. Avowed. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But let's see.
Adamfall has a hard release date. Ooh, I did not know this. I did not
Dune
know they had a hard
Awakening,
release
according
date
to my
now.
wish list, still just says 2025.
Yeah, they're
Exakiller. Exakiller looks good. That's that weird old west cyberpunk one.
Oh yeah,
That just
yeah.
says 2025 though. It doesn't have a hard release date.
That looks pretty good.
There's some games on my wish. So there again, Q1 2025. There is a St. Louis indie company by the name of Butterscotch Shenanigans.
Okay.
They put out Crashlands, and they have a wonderful mobile game called Quadrupus Rampage.
Okay.
And it's a quadrupus because you're an octopus, but you only have 4 arms.
All right.
All of their games have tongue-in-cheek style humor, but Crashlands 2 comes this year, and that's a really good survival game in the kind of the same vein as Don't Starve. Great fucking game.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah. What else?
Death Stranding 2. I wasn't the biggest fan of Death Stranding.
Right.
Death Stranding for me is more of a game I want to watch somebody else play than play it myself.
Death Stranding is just weird, man.
Like
that was.
It can, if you like horror games and you haven't checked out the Silent Hill 2 remake yet, go check that out because that was fucking incredible.
There's a bunch of space games coming out, probably into early access. Avowed has a hard date of 2/18, so another month.
Yeah, let's say Avowed is soon.
Yeah.
Avowed
Most of the stuff on my wish list just says 2025.
Yeah, okay,
soon.
Fair, okay.
I kind of have a bit of an excite for Borderlands 4 because it's Borderlands.
It's Borderlands, and I mean, I love Tiny Tina's. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was incredible. I love that game.
Once I managed to get past the stupidly long intro to the original Borderlands, and the game opened up, I fell in love with it. I love the art style, the gameplay, all of it. I've played so many hours into pretty much all of them. Even Tiny Tina's was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where did I buy those? Because none of those seem to be showing up.
The Silent Hill 2 remake is incredible. The other one, what's the other game that I played? The Lego Horizon game. Based off like Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. That game was fucking incredible. Yeah. Really, really fun. Really, really fun one. But we are approaching 2 hours, and I've got to get to bed shortly.
I got to put the kids.
I gotta get up early in the morning tomorrow and do some things before work. But let me see here. See if there's anybody we can send y'all to as a raid. Let's see if Nelstar's on. Nope. Is anybody on? No. All right, we'll just end it there. All right, guys. Any final thoughts, Cheeks, you want to share before we call it for the evening?
No. Other than good conversation. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Again, so and I don't feel like I'm busting your chops on some of this stuff. My job is to play devil's advocate sometimes. But great conversation. Feel free to continue sharing your opinions because we all have them and they're all valid. So it's gaming.
Right.
And yeah. See you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll be back in a couple weeks. Regular bat time, regular bat channel for the next show. Normally we're a Monday show, but because I'm gone tomorrow, we had to record tonight. But as always, guys, we love you. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being here. I say it every time we do this show, but I love doing this show. I feel like I get a little smarter every time we do it because I see things in a different perspective, and that's not always the case. But yeah, I love y'all very much, and we'll speak to y'all again as soon as we can.
Peace out, folks.
This may be the last time you see me. This might be the last gig I do. At the end of today, I may just pass away. On the other hand, it might be you.